Welcome to a Milk Market Tidbit for the October 2023 class and component numbers that USDA just released yesterday. This is Dr. Lawrence Jones from Farm Institute, and I'm recording this on Thursday morning, November 2nd. All right, let's remind ourselves how these numbers get set. So we're going to start with Class 1. So the Class 1 numbers that we're seeing for our milk checks coming up in October are actually set clear back in September. That's why they're called the advanced prices. And that all has to do with the shelf life of fluid milk. So they take two of the National Dairy Sales reports, and from that, they're going to calculate the 2-week average of butter, non-fat dry milk, cheese, and whey. And then from there, it's all mathematics, which gets you to the final numbers. And so the base one class was 1947 for October. That's up 57 cents from last month. Now, we already have the November base one class. It's the only class that we've already got that data for, but so we know that class one milk's going to rise again in November, regardless of what happens to the market between now and then. So now let's look at the rest of it. And October was a 4-week month, which means we get 4 of the National Dairy Sales reports. Now I've got these on top of each other because USDA says they can go back and change any number. So if you look really close right here, that little asterisk, they actually changed that number from what it was on the previous week. And so again, we got the last one here on Wednesday. From there, they calculate the average of butter, non-fat dry milk, cheese, and whey. And these are the only numbers that USDA actually calculates, and they're calculated from the National Dairy Sales reports. And then from there, it's all mathematics. So then we get the Class 2, Class 3, Class 4, and all of those sorts of things. Class 3 was 1684. That's down $1.55 from last month. Way up from this 1377 that we saw in July, which was just a terribly low month. These are what the futures were at the close of yesterday. So right now it looks like class 3 is going to trickle up just a little bit. Now there's lots of discussion as to whether the futures settle to the class or the class settles to the futures. And so I think by now you should know that when USDA is setting the class and component numbers, they really don't care what the futures are saying. It's the futures that are trying to find out what USDA is going to do. So USDA reported at 1684, and this is the October contract. So a couple of issues of this was if you were really clairvoyant, you could have sold all of your October milk back here in December around $20.50. And again, you could have sold it here in December this year at 19, and then that dropped off and it settled at 1684. So lots of variability. But the other thing to notice right here is this is the very end of this is where the contract is searching for the USDA number. Fat prices were the big winner. They came up 59 cents to $3.71, and that's just because butter just went crazy here for just a little while. But again, if you look at the green, it's trickling back off and expected to be around 284 by the first of the year. Protein also fell significantly because of the cheese price that fell quite a bit. And again, protein is inverse to fat because butter is in the calculation. So anytime butter goes up, protein falls. And that was down to $1.05. So that's been the low for the year. And that's going to go up probably through the end of the year, partly because butter is coming down, which is going to raise the protein price, but also cheese has a little bit of a support to it. Other solids came up just a little bit, 3 cents. Now whey has been climbing, and there's an expectation that whey is going to drive these other solids prices up to 20 cents, still off of the high that we had back here in November. Class 4 came up $2.40. Again, that was all driven by butter and a little bit of non-fat dry milk, $21.49. But that appears to be short-lived as butter starting to come down, and non-fat dry milk has definitely got some headwinds to it. So whenever we get these, we always go back and calculate how does 2023 compare to last year, and we're about $5.08 off of last year, and that's the number that we've held almost all year of saying, budget for about $5 less than last year. And if we go back 2 years, we're $1.55 above it. So we're higher than the 2021, but lower than 2022. And soon we're going to be looking at 2024, and I'm going to suspect it's going to be very similar to that 18 number, but we'll start getting data here pretty quick. So the class and components, as I said, we're out today with that last national dairy sales report. We're going to get this dairy products report on Friday, and that will settle up all of the October demand questions. All right, that's it for me.